A very, very warm good evening. This is Arunavad Chaudhary, YouTube channel arunfoot. It's a little later than usual, and being back here on the channel on Sunday evening. It's February the 9th, and a little earlier we had Bengaluru FC hosting Jamshedpur FC at the Kantirava, and the Blues scored 3-0 win against the Red Miners. And for BFC, yeah, very, very important win in their quest for an ISL playoff spot, because with a loss, who knows what kind of a situation might have arisen at BFC. In the recent past has not been the best, and therefore not an easy one for them in general. But BFC have won, are back to returning ways, and and that I think is the most important thing for them at this stage of the season, because yes, it is one of those where at the end it plays off. Don't you make the playoffs? And for BFC at the moment, it is at most ensuring that they do qualify for the playoffs. That's going to be the aim, and therefore for them, very, very important. Geron Reyes says good evening, and he adds, still not happy with BFC. They should score at least 5 goals. Easy missed chances should get converted. I understand your perspective, Geron Reyes, where you say you have to get more goals, you have to get a better result. But I think you should not forget from where BFC are coming. They've had a very, very bad record in the region. I think it was important, for BFC to get back to winning ways. I think that's the most important thing. The last 3 matches were lost. They were unlucky to lose that away tie in Jamshedpur, 1-2 at the time, where Sunil missed some easy chances. So from that perspective, it's a very, very good and see, because this keeps the pressure on the teams behind them. Odisha, of course, 29, Kerala Blasters on 24, and Punjab on 23, I think, are the most dangerous. And from that perspective, I think I'd say, and then it's interesting scenario in regard to the top 6 race. Bold decision to keep Gurpreet Singh Sandhu out of 11. Rare, sometimes coaches fall back onto this thing of keeping the keepers. We've seen that quite a bit this season across the league, across the ISL, that coaches decided to say, you know what, I'm not going to play my number 1, I'm going to play my number 2, or my number 1 becomes the number 2, the number 2 becomes number 1. But of course, a player of the stature of Gurpreet Singh Sandhu being on with Ralte taking up that spot, so therefore that's an interesting one. Also looking at that Mohamed Salah with Sana, Roshan Singh in the starting lineup, Suresh, Pedro Capo, Alberto Nogueira, Sunil Chetri, Edgar Mendes, and Ryan Williams. So going for Williams, Edgar Mendes, and Alberto Nogueira, add Sunil Chetri to the mix, and Capo adding stability to that defensive midfield. So that, I think, was the approach of the coach. And from that perspective, I guess the coach did the right thing if you look at the results. But the question, of course, is that structure really as stable as they believe, or as they think, as they hope it is? And therefore, from that perspective, I think it's a bit of a struggle. But again, for me, very, very important that BFC, got myself. I know in the earlier comment you said they should have scored more, but I think let's see what happens. Pradeep says Sunil will be back in national team. Pradeep, it's something that we'll have to wait and see. I think it's being discussed. I guess in and around should be back in the fold. I spoke to quite a number of people while in India, and my feeling clearly was that a lot of people think that for India to improve, most probably it makes sense to, at least for now, to bring Sunil back. Otherwise, I think it's going to get a little But at the other end, I think it's something that one has to wait and see. But I think if you ask me, looking at the current situation, I would think important for the Indian national team to see Sunil come. I don't think we've got any other striker or attacking player who can play as good as Sunil is at the moment. Midfield looked so composed today, and all Indian back today provided a good result. Again, rare. I think the midfield, the attackers also have to play their role in the defensive team, and therefore defensive midfield didn't get exposed, the defense didn't get exposed, and therefore the keeper didn't get exposed. So therefore, all positives. But yeah, let's wait and see. What do you think is the future of Gopit Singh now? I mean, next season, go into the next season. In the next match, you might be back in goal. You never know what happens, right? I mean, you would have said about Purva Lachempa at Mumbai City, that he might, it's game, set and match. TP Ramesh then got injured. Purva Lachempa played, and yeah, and therefore, for me, next season is quite far away. Let the season finish, and then we'll see what happens. What can we say about Manveer? Is in ISL he's a boss, but I think the point here is Manveer and all other players are mostly as good as the foreigners around them. Let's be honest. You don't have those foreigners as an influence. Is something that in the national team, then these players who, in an ideal case scenario, pass the ball on to a foreigner and the foreigner takes care of the game. Now in the national team have to take care. That's a challenge for them, and therefore sometimes it works, often it doesn't work, and then you are in the situation you are in. So therefore it continues to be a challenge. Therefore, be it Manveer, be it the others, can be top players in the ISL or better players in the ISL, and they get exposed at international level for the national team. I saw a German article in Sport where they stated that Pakistan Congo got excluded from FIFA World Cup 2026. Pakistan is already eliminated, so where is the question of being excluded? I don't know. Maybe they clubbed Pakistan with Congo. Congo is also, of course, recently, so therefore maybe that's a mistake in the article. Hi SCT, good to see you back. Even though Bengaluru FC won today, as similarity in this season's Bengaluru FC and past seasons Kerala Blast FC, both of them were top of table for winter transfer, and after that they both struggling to win. Different reasons. I think you can't compare the reasons of what happened at the Blasters last season to what's happening at BFC, and every case has to be looked at independently. But from my perspective, fall from the top position started already way earlier because they were not top of the table at the winter break. Also, the Blasters weren't. It was FC Goa who were top, but these things happened. Referees are getting worse and worse game after game. What a shame for us. Interesting. Refereeing today says Pranjal. Okay. Most of other teams fans not aware, but Ralte done a great job doing AFC Cup when we reached and finally played a crucial role in those years as well. He was a top performer for BFC in those I-League days. But I-League days, he was a top performer. So therefore, very, very true that Ralte had his share of success in those days. Of course, he thereafter left the club and played on and went on and came back, and there's been a good understudy to Gopit Singh. He is back to play, or was rather back to play today. Pyari Jaja Shangita Bashwa left Indian women national team camp for friendly due to Indian police. Another topic of wrong priorities. Roshan, there are two sides to it. I agree that for the national team or for the clubs, it's and on the other side, if I look at things. Be it the Indian police, we've had this issue with the railways, with banks, also the men's game. Yeah, it is the way it is. That's their priority. That's their job, so to say, for the rest of their lives. Can between the police and AIFF in the sense of that the women get an opportunity to play for the national team. That would be great, but yeah, that's not happening. So therefore, we can only hope that whenever possible, they are able to represent us and play for us. Hi Zoravar, welcome back. Siat is saying, अच्छा हुआ गुरप्रीत को हटाया, मैं तो कब से बोल रहा था, मेरा कोई सुनता ही नहीं. One JBC. Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it also backfires, right? So therefore, these kind of decisions, happen, don't happen. But to me, yeah, something. So let's see what happens. Right, already 12 minutes, 14 of you watching. Great, thanks a lot for that. If you haven't and you're liking what you're hearing, what you're seeing, do leave a like behind. 4 likes only so far. I think we can do better, guys. Leave a share behind this if you want to come back for regular updates. Do leave a subscription behind. We're at 2,213 at the moment. So thank you very, very much. And also do watch the short videos that I make on a regular basis. Made something earlier today on East Bengal FC, asking in the ISL. Yesterday did something interesting. I did a late night interview with my good old friend Mohammed Shanawaz on the question of FIFA suspension of Pakistan and could India be next. So therefore, do watch that as well. I think it's an interesting conversation where Shani in depth of the issues plaguing not only Pakistan or Indian football, but generally South Asian football and why South Asian football overall is struggling. So do watch those as well. And as always, thank you very, very much for your support as always. I have an out of topic question. If you don't mind, can you speak Hindi? Sorry, my Hindi is not good enough. My Bengali is not good enough, or I don't want to do it. For me, the language to do this show for me is English, and therefore, yeah. If you guys have a question, you want to ask them in Hindi or Bengali, try and translate them to the people as well. But I would like to continue the show in the language that I am most comfortable in, if you understand. Zorawar asks your opinion regarding a football team Manipur carrying AK-47, which go viral on social media. To me, unacceptable. To me, unacceptable of branding. I'm not sure. Was it a PR stint or was it really about, I don't know, their security? Anyone showing their weapons or showing any weapon on a field of sport or in a stadium, indoor or outdoor, is to me not acceptable, right? Brandishing weapons is not what we do. A blessing or a curse that is keeping us from success? Pablo's animation, that's a very good question, to which I think there is no simple yes or no answer. I think in certain instances it helps because it gives an job opportunity to players. But on the other side, it is a reason why a lot of athletes, I'm not even talking just footballers, but athletes, not only, but also in a global context, then rather say, you know what, I'd rather work for the police or the banks or the railways or join the army to ensure my future, because as an athlete you can always get injured or this and that and whatever reasons. So therefore let's see what happens. Dada, who will golden ball this year? Shoma, to me, I think Aladdin Ajare is most probably the player to watch out for now. Because that's these women players, I won't blame them. Women football has no future in India. It's dark for women too. I think the women will also not qualify Asian Cup. Yeah, we can see it from that perspective. But if I look at the salaries that are being paid in the IWL by now, there are good salaries. Sorry, I mean, again, I haven't paid enough. It's not just the men's game, but the women's game as well. You know. So to me, I don't know. It's a question that I most probably would ask Dalima if I meet her, if she sees that. But a career to football. Of course, she studied in Canada as well. So I don't know. We can generalize it. Does Indian football have a future if you want to, right? BFC upcoming games against Northeast United FC, Chennai FC, East Bengal FC, and Mumbai. Game, I don't think so. We need to make any big changes in upcoming games. Let's wait and see. Northeast themselves are fighting. East Bengal are where they are. Chennai out very, very much of an outside chance if you look at the table at the moment. I mean, they leapfrog East Bengal behind BFC with 4 games to play, so unlikely, but you never know. Chennai are the ones, the comeback kings. In Japan or Korea, if a woman player does something like similar, probably will never play for national team again. XYZ, I don't know if you remember that, not with women, but with male players in South Korea, they've been called up for military duty. So even a Jungmin Son had to serve military duty and used to have to miss matches. It's different. It's not a job, but still. So this can happen anywhere in the world. Can Kerala FC has a chance to make it into playoffs now? Oh. Realistically, depends on the next 2-3 games, right? I think you have to catch up, right? On Saturday, early kickoff. Late kickoff, Mohun Bagan Super Giants. So it doesn't get more difficult than that. So if the Blasters have any chance, I think the next match is the one, but find it difficult. Even for Disha, I see it could be tough because if BSC had lost today, okay, looks like it. Jamshedpur have too many points, so I don't see Jamshedpur dropping out of the top 6. Even Mumbai City now with 31 points look better than they've looked in the last 2 weeks, especially their win against Northeast helps. So therefore, Northeast are the ones in 20 games, 29 points. Let's wait and see what happens. Replying to XYZ, if Chiba thinks women football doesn't have any future in Indian context, then why is she and her sister serving Indian football? Why sister is team manager for Indian women football team? Good point. Good point, Hero there. What do you think about Real Madrid's problem? I mean, they are doing a job, but they're not supposed to win a game with a tiny margin with this type of squad. Do you think there is an ego clash? No team has that they win by big margins. No team is there where I would say, you're that good, you should be winning by XYZ goals. I think there's no team in the world. And therefore, for me, it's very, very clear that if we are talking about teams, of course, to me, is be candidate to always, be a candidate to potentially win games. Then I have to say that you win some. Is it an ego clash? I don't think so. I think it's still a transitional period at the club after, a lot of players have left in the last few years. What's your review of East Bengal FC versus Chennai FC? East Bengal fans have already started using Celis, calling him a scam. So Ravar, I saw him last week against Mumbai City. He's got nice movements. He's got a nice touch, but he's not. That's to me Richard Celis level of potential. But Is he? I said that after the first game. I thought, he showed something, but Zorawar, I didn't feel that he's going to make any difference. Yeah, that's the problem. They needed someone who would actually immediately get them goals, right? That's the thing that they need, with Diamantakos being in the form that he is, and therefore, very difficult. But at the moment, I think, and, at East Bengal. Liverpool knocked out of FA Cup by 24th place team in Championship. Bablu's cup ties shouldn't happen, can happen. You think starting spot at BSC would influence the spot national team? Roshan, I don't think so. I don't think so. That it is an influence. Manolo has his views on things. Let's see. XYZ says, and are we far away from it, or is it a genuine threat and could happen any moment? XYZ, tomorrow will be an interesting day, that potentially if the Supreme Court approves the AIFF constitution, which has not been vetted and cleared, by FIFA, we might see a So I don't know. It is more than a threat. I think it was there. It has been there. I think if one is honest, and again, listen to that conversation if you haven't, that I had with Shanawaz, I think it's FIFA have been more lenient with India than, let's say, for example, with the Pakistan, and we have not utilized the opportunity that has been given to us over the years. That's the reality. Is this Manipuri club which AIFF registered? If the AIFF should work its registration, whether the players were carrying weapons, not some security guard. Again, Zorawar, we are in a state which is in a civil war, right? So therefore, it is easy to comment on why the details. I think you don't know the details, and therefore, again, people on social media don't know the details. The only thing, as I said, was that these players should not be brandishing their weapons, but maybe it was needed to secure security. But yeah, then we have a problem. But this never did it different. XYZ, I'm just saying, it's their job, right? So if they're for them, they perceive their job to be more important, then that's the job. Apuya also said, my studies are more important than playing for the Indian national team. So therefore, that's if you or anyone like it, we have to accept. Even worse for East Bengal yesterday was Shima Chuku scored against them. Yeah, so now I think that is when, it just all adds up and things get even worse for a club like East Bengal. I shouldn't say the situation, but that's the reality, right? That's the reality of where East Bengal stand at this moment. And tough job for Oscar Bruzon. I rate Oscar quite a bit, but let's wait and see. Can you do interview with Dylan Markanday? Sachin, let me see. Certain interviews have been very tied up on work. So let me see what I can do. Do you think he's going to focus on AFC Challenge League and writing of ISL? No. A club like East Bengal can't say, you know what, I don't care about the ISL. Let me focus on the challenge. Squad problems, overall problems in and around the club, and that is just reflecting in the results of the last few weeks. East Bengal invested well this year in a few players. Still, it looks like they're not fit for top tier league. It's not good for Indian football. No, Gear, they didn't invest well. It's your first interpretation of the situation. I did a video today on that. Just watch it. But I think I try and sum up the situation. I think I said it last summer. Look at, Google all the videos that I made on East Bengal, and what I've said again and again, that good overall squad, and that is to me reflecting itself again and again and again and again. And we're nowhere near where we want to and need to be. And therefore, East Bengal as a club need to buying. They bought names. They tried to fill positions, but Diamantakos is a failure. Let's be honest. Mahdi Talal showed in glimpses what he can do, but he got injured. Jackson has been more injured than playing. Yeah, where's the bench? And those so-called young players that we talk about, to me, are not good enough to play ISL. Sorry to say that. Nunga should go for psychological counseling, seriously speaking. The thing is that he could have been sent off even more. So that's, and I know someone who's worked with him and coached him and said, centre back, ISL level, don't think he's capable of doing that. So someone has actually said that to me. So therefore, is use him as a right or a left back, but don't play him as a centre back. And again, but even as a left back or right back, he will have those mistakes and those choppy fouls, and I'm gonna get cards. A ban would be good. At least that would bring the media and political attention. Yeah, but does it change anything, Zorawa? That would be my question. Keith needs to start due to consistency. Sachin, I saw him the other day against Punjab FC. Now, what you don't see on television is often he moves forward and backwards and does not show how to and where to go. You don't see that on television, right? Two choppy clearances. Another one where you thought, okay, a good striker would score. So to me, again, I stick to it. He doesn't have, and again, if one coach says he shouldn't be, if two coaches, if three say it at the national team level, I don't rate him, then there is an issue. Mbappe is a world-class player, but his off-the-ball movement, making those runs, Thierry Henry pointed out that Jude Bellingham was making those runs instead. XYZ, if you're bringing in Mbappe, you have to, and that is something which I guess Real Madrid will have to do in the coming years. Is Super Cup still happening? Shouldn't they be releasing fixtures since AS is close to end? Blues, I have no idea. Manolo Marquez has now also raised that topic of, where, if and when the Super Cup will happen. I think nobody knows. And shows you what is happening, and therefore, I don't know. I'm not sure where we stand. XY says, come on, AIFF doesn't care, government doesn't care. I think there are people in the AIFF who care, even if you won't think so, but they care. In the media, yeah. I mean, I saw some of the media comments or some of the fan comments in regard to that Pakistan banning. You should not, in German, there's a saying, you shouldn't throw in a glass house with stones because the glass might fall on you. Kerala fans again, crying again in the name of the team, shows why their management don't consider their things. No, I don't. Again, that's your interpretation of things, but I wouldn't agree to it. I think the management has their own issues, so, yeah. Any match you thought losing, team cinema, certain team made final, are you surprised? Yeah, morally happens. The better team doesn't always win. The other breaking point is that last 3 years, players getting released who perform well for other teams. We've seen that not only with East Bengal, but with other teams as well. I think there were AFC went elsewhere, did well. So therefore, yeah, it does happen. In East Bengal, invested in wrong places, went for flashy signings without any actually building anything. Yeah, Babalu's animation, agree. Very, very, Does the Supreme Court approve AIFF football constitution count as third-party intervention? I heard that PFF rejected the constitution proposal by FIFA, which led to this ban. Yeah, it is. It is if the AIFF constitution is not conform to laws and rules laid down by FIFA. The problem is of the sports code is not conform with laws of the IC. So yeah. Problem with East Bengal is that their fans still are not realizing the real problem is seen abusing an Imami official live on news, whereas the main culprit is the legacy ones. So Robert very well said. I think the legacy officials in all the three Kolkata clubs are part of the problem and not part of the solution. But again, who's want to talk about it? I spoke about this with a few people while in Kolkata, and we're having a discussion on it. And I said, football, the Kolkata football circle, the scene in itself lives in a bubble. Lives in a bubble which is far, far away from reality, and that is one of our biggest problems at the moment. Who have 4 forward, 1 midfielder, and very strong compete with the Asian team. Attack. Let's just go 3, then let's go 4. We will not have any playmaker, no good replacement. Sachin, your problem is who was available for the money that East Bengal wanted to spend. It's not so easy. It's not so easy, and East Bengal getting action comes as a surprise because people thought there wasn't money to be spent. What do you think India can do in Pink Cup, Ritik? For us, it's expecting nothing from the Indian women's team. Do you think we need to widen our perception, or else we have easily brainwashed? Is Gurpreet still the first choice for national team next month? Or Blues? Yeah, I will, and I'll say why, because I saw Vishal Kate play and he didn't convince me. And I think that's the stand, I think, of our national coaches as well over the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Trophy was placed in US presidential office man Trump test. Many people noticed. Your thoughts on 20 World Cup, will you attend? And will the World Cup expand further from 48 to 64? I am not sure if I will travel next year. My work schedule, to be very honest, I would love to go. Yeah, got a few friends, family also in America, so would love to visit them as well. So let's see. Indian football need FIFA ban, set Tipurasa vlog TV. Will India play against Argentina this year? I don't even know if Argentina are coming because the dates. Yeah, let's see what happens. Why India not call player hold Indian passport playing in Lloyd Open Division like Slovenia, Serbia, etc.? Because we don't have any players playing there who are playing in those leagues. I mean, where is the quality? I don't know, Sachin. Who are you talking about? The quality of ISL is dipping down to too many cards this year, and almost every keeper doing struggle. No young, consistent scorer. ISL need a kind of boost, otherwise start away. Here and rare. My experience looking at a match, Punjab FC versus Jamshedpur FC, looking at Mumbai City versus East Bengal, looking at Mohun Bagan versus Punjab FC, the quality is very, very poor. And I looked at Inter Kashi versus Gokulam Kerala, that quality was even poorer, right? And I've been saying this for years. Look at old videos where I'm saying we've got a quality issue. And I know friends of mine kept saying, no, its quality is getting better. I've been saying this for last 5, 6, 7 years. People don't want to accept reality. They love to live in La La Land. Their biggest blunder was going for Anwar despite knowing his injury. And you add spending 30 plus crore on him was peak brain fade. I think Zorawar, there are 2 facts. One, the injury proneness of Anwar, which is an issue in itself. The second issue with Anwar is the whole way that East Bengal got him. This whole, to sort of force to get him out. And yeah, let's see where this whole thing goes. The quality of ISL is dipping. Sorry, we said that. Oops. What are the warning signs for the team or the player that they are not going right direction? Because I find we have them a lot flexible. Hype is the only thing is left, right? So hype is the problem of our system. We hype up players too quickly. We want to make superstars out of them, and yeah, they're not ready for it, right? Kal Punjab FC versus Odisha FC में कौन जीतेगा? It's an interesting one because I think for Odisha FC, looking at the table once more, let's go to the table once. Mohun Bagan Super Giant have qualified points from 20 matches. FC Goa on 36 from 19. Jamshedpur FC are 34 from 19. Bengaluru FC have 31 from 20. Mumbai City have also 31, but from 19. Northeast United have 29 from 20. Odisha FC have 25 from 19. Punjab FC have 23 from 18. So that means whoever wins puts pressure on at least Northeast United or even BFC and Mumbai City. But I think Punjab having 2 matches less makes it even more interesting. And Chennai on 21 from 20, I think, out of that top 6 race. Or will AFC youth level tournament increase the number of teams from 16 to 24? Ritik, I don't know. I've not heard anything. Let's put it this way. ओवरसी के 2 players कल के मैच में unavailable रहेंगे because of red cards. Yes, 2 players, among them Ahmad Jahu. And Odisha have been inconsistent as well, right? It seems like this year age is also catching up on their key players. So therefore, and Punjab played well against Mohun Bagan, won the match against BFC. So yeah, I would say Punjab advantage against Odisha. Can Odisha FC qualify for playoffs with the game? If they win it, they're closer to Northeast United. If they lose it, yeah, looks tough, right? You said court intervention is a third-party interference in case if a court of no was without anyone filed case. How does FIFA clause apply? The courts involved directly or indirectly doesn't matter. No? If someone is finding a case or the courts think they need to get involved, it is not their jurisdiction. Aaj Barca versus Sevilla. Kunal, I don't have access to La Liga matches, so no, I won't be watching it. The problem is that we have so little talent pool for a single season. Ritik, forget a single season. People get happy if a player does well for 30 minutes. I go back, Nufal, first game of the season, Mohun Bagan Super Giant versus Mumbai City FC, and it was one of the best matches of the season, I guess. Nufal impressed. But to me, those 30 minutes were his best of the season so far. Nufal has never again played like that. So, welcome. If Imami leaves them this year and they get a less rich company, wonder the new firm will be going to be such as so salaries. So, Robert, if Imami leaves, will there be someone coming forward to do this? Good question. I don't know. IS is like a TV series these days, unnecessary hyping things, coaches doing drama, doom, tanama all the time. Even they blame commentators now. Yeah. Deflection, and people are not willing to accept what they're doing. Do you think Africa player rise above despite the systems, the hunger and desire of individual brains? All these factors, morally, can be a reason why someone from Africa makes it. Never happening. If it was happening this year, they should have started stadium renovation months ago, a few days ago. Someone died after a gazette to an hotel inside Kochi Stadium. That's why, forget India, Argentina. I have said very, very clearly, to me, the question is a different one. That is the question that we should be asking. I think AIFF is not a dedicated organization to develop football in India. No proper youth development, also no proper qualified coaches to train youth 17 or 20 teams. Yeah, Bobby, can be said, and that you can also generalize and put that onto the clubs, onto the academies. The whole system is at fault in regard to talent development. Just to blame the AIFF, I think, is too easy. Zorawa says, what talent pool you're talking about? There is no talent pool you're talking about. Worse than English sixth division clubs. So harsh one, Zorawa. Which team in Europe didn't produce world-class player despite their legacy? Somewhere down the road, down the line, all these teams have produced better quality players. Most of the clubs will have produced players at some stage, at some time in their life cycle, right? So, yeah. So, yeah. All right, more than 40 minutes already on live here on my channel, arunfoot. If you haven't, do like and share this video so that more people can join our conversations that grow the community. 6 likes so far, you guys. I think we can do better on this Sunday evening. And if you want to follow what I'm about, to leave a subscription behind. Yeah, 2,214 subscribers now, so thanks a lot. And as always, as I say, right, look at the shorter videos that I make on a regular basis. Again, I've made one on East Bengal. Very interesting conversation with Mohammed, the FIFA suspension of Pakistan and its impact on South Asian football. So do look that as well, and and therefore keep supporting the channel. The games this season, don't know what happened to them. They're not top class at the moment as they seem, expect themselves to be. U13 league has started from today. Yeah, Zorabar, finally, now all the youth leagues are underway. Do you rate current best goalkeeper in the world, Martinez or Alisson? See, Alisson has won more at club level, much more. He's won the World Cup, right? But there would be other keepers in this conversation, even despite their age and whatever. Thibaut Courtois comes into the conversation. I think Manuel Neuer still comes to me. So, yeah. Argentina is going to play against India. Stephen, no. As far as I know, it's wrong. But to me, as my infos go, there is nothing that has been confirmed on that front. Can we Jingan power and game reading better than others? Power, yes. Game reading, I think they're better players than U13 from the U15 or U17 players at the moment. Let's see. India faced tough challenges. This is AFC Asian Cup qualification against Bangladesh, Singapore, and Hong Kong. Yeah, exactly. Very, very tough. And that starts next month in Shillong against Bangladesh. And today, Bangladesh have named their provisional squad, and it contains Hamza Chaudhry. Let me just check. I was just checking something. That Hamza is in the squad, and therefore that's bad news for Indian football, but good. Bangladesh football, of course, a player of that, It's nearly 45 minutes quieter than usual. Guys, threw me a questions, sorry, and I will try and answer them. Just checking if I can open that article. Yeah, and that's something. It was Chaudhary, of course, who recently joined Sheffield United on loan in the Championship, and Faham plays in the 4th tier in Italy, has also been in Serie B for Olbia Calcio. And he's a youth product of Sampdoria, so he makes it. And interesting to see. Um, They're getting ready to face India, so that's interesting to see. You said India passed player better, but they do a better defender and pass the final card better. Yeah, I mean, Mahesh Kohli, Mangi, Anwar Ali, the old Anwar Ali, not the current one. Yeah, I would have thought they were better. Purna Halda, Jason Singh. Overall, I would say most probably Jason. One advice I would like to give for parents in India before joining: be realistic. See what your kid is capable of and don't push the kid too much. Let him enjoy football, let him enjoy any other sport. That is what I would tell parents to think and consider about. So yeah. Who's Indian? That's a good question. We've got Amrinder, we've got Vishal Keth. Purbala Chempa would have normally made my list also, but he hasn't had a good season. Albino Gomes hasn't. I think Gurmeet comes into the list. Also, yeah, despite also having a few mistakes recently. And then it starts getting tough, right? Then it starts getting tough in regard to putting a team together. Do you think setting unrealistic expectation is dangerous? I find current trend. Morally, it's not the reality check of what we think, what we can do, and where we are doesn't often meet. That's in my opinion, a big problem where we are unable to grasp of where we stand, what the problem, therefore we are where we are, and therefore, yeah, we're not moving in the right direction. That's a big problem, I think. How do these genetic topics? Mm, Genetics can play a role, but does it have? I don't know. You tell me. To me, the quality of a player is not decided by his genetics, but the way he plays, and that's, I think, the challenge. How good player is Harpreet Gotra? If India allowed players, do you see him in first 11? Zoravar, you can't generalize. Harpreet is a very not broken into the higher echelons of German football yet, playing at Eintracht Frankfurt's B team or reserve side or second team, however you want to call it. Very talented player, but Harpreet has to do better. So to make it to the third or maybe make it to the second, he has a long way to go. How good player was Stephen Dyas? Morali, you've asked me multiple times about Stephen or Randy or Clifford. Good players of their day. So yeah, that's that of how good these players were in their time, in their prime, has been there, right? So therefore, they Stephen, Randy, all these boys have been very good. Had their time at their prime on where they were the best. Welcome back. Yeah, man, that's right. At the moment, if I look back over the last 2 weeks, that I now watched 4 Indian football matches live, 3 matches in the ISL. It's something which is there, and yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I'm shocked at the level of football, right? So therefore, yeah, not sure. That's the concerning thing to me. Liverpool got knocked out of the FA Cup. Yes, Blue, beaten by Plymouth Argyle to the first, and the Premier League loses to the last team in the Championship. That's what football does. The first lose the English League pyramid. And that is the charm of cup competitions, right? And therefore, yeah, we love it. Do you think over the years weaker team got stronger, but we failed? Yeah. Well, again, define define weaker team, right? For me, it's not a topic of weaker team. Teams develop, team develop. We have stagnated, maybe even regressed. Mm, let's see. Um, Goalkeeper Dheeraj, what about him? And also Kumar Thatal were all those U7 players in 2007, technically, those players. Probably in theory, they might have been better, but they aren't, right? Dheeraj couldn't make it. Too many mistakes at his clubs in the ISL. And Kumar Thatal overhyped with his dyed hair during the Under 17 World Cup. Never fulfilled his promise. And that's football for you. So, any Super Cup updates? Nothing at all. Supposedly in April, supposedly in Goa, but nobody knows anything. What's the format? How many clubs will play? And therefore, will Super Cup happen? No news still. Yeah, therefore, I don't know. That's the craziness. Jamshedpur FC is second best home team and second worst away team. How does it even make sense? Blue, interesting piece of stat. I just get up. I'll keep on talking. Is that this does happen in football, right? It's not a rarity where you say it doesn't happen. There's this crazy piece of stat here in Germany where SF Magdeburg, who are I think third or fourth in Bundesliga 2, have not won a game at home. They just lost on Friday once again. But away stats, and without winning a game at home so far, they are actually in the running of promotion to the Bundesliga. Yeah, just to think about it is insane. So therefore, this is something that does happen, that teams have record and a very bad away record. Rarer is that teams have a bad home record and a good away record, and not winning at all and still being in contention for promotion is just, in my opinion, insane. Just look at SF Magdeburg, Bundesliga 2. Just look up that stat. That piece of stat is just had quite a as well, especially after that Stephen Eze suspension, 2 matches where they conceded 10 goals, and those 10 goals are still hurting them if you look at their goal difference. So therefore, that's something that happens. And again, Khalid Jamil's teams normally play out close. They normally win by 1, maybe by 2 goals, and the same is that they lose. But it's a situation that Khalid and his team will not like for sure, and will try to avoid. But again, this is football. This is the craziness of football as a sport, and therefore this happens. It does happen, as I say, and therefore will be interesting to see how they manage themselves. And again, Jamshedpur FC look to me to be a securely in the top 6. I mean, it would be a wonder if they could be pushed off. Doesn't look like it to me. So therefore, for how far can they go in the playoffs? Will they make it to the top 2? Will they finish runners up to Mohun Bagan Super Giant? That would be sensational, in my opinion. Will they finish maybe 3rd or 4th or 5th? And that's also possible. So yeah, it's an interesting season in the ISL. It's an interesting campaign, in my opinion. It's an unorthodox campaign extent, because even Mohun Bagan didn't convince me when I saw them on Wednesday. That was not good football. Punjab FC take their chances. Punjab FC take home the points, but they couldn't, and therefore they lost. So therefore, that's football for me, and therefore, yeah, you have to just try and win games. And yeah, sometimes you make it, sometimes you don't. Mohun Bagan is planning to tie up Rajdeep Paul, the 14-year-old striker, on a long-term contract. He's scoring almost every match. In a recent interview, Mohun Bagan U15 coach said Rajdeep is a prodigy who can transition. Let's with the 14-year-old to actually make long-term contracts. But again, India and contracts is a topic for itself after all that's happened around Anwar Ali. So let's not get into that. When we look, stadium in foreign countries look like gaming in television. How far is it true? Stadiums, yes, around the world, and at least the ones I visited in India, I would have thought Mumbai City is most probably is the best one that I saw. Salt Lake Stadium And stadium could do a little work here or there, but yeah, abroad, yeah, you've got those. To see, let's again, so our 14-year-old, give him the time. Let's see. Can we say 2002 is certainly technically good? Yeah, they were better slowly than what is it? Come only when we lose, but when we win, they don't blame. Murali, when you win, you don't discuss things. You're not forced to discuss things. If you win, you keep quiet. You're happy. You don't bother about things. No, when you lose, then you are under pressure for things to happen, to perform. So therefore, we're talking about, and therefore that's the challenge that you have. The AIFF is so horrible. Tomorrow is another derby. Have to watch that again. Blue. Again, those local, zonal, regional. I don't know how many levels they have now. Yeah, let's see. I think, yeah, I don't know how many people take it seriously in that way, but for me, these tournaments are there to give exposure to players, to enable them to play matches, to play as many matches as possible, and then hope, that they learn something and that they can take it forward. And that's the that you expect from an RFDL competition. Yeah, that's something that I would say, because at the end of the day, that's what it needs, right? That's exposure is important. Any player you thought is seen a lot over the years, huh? But if you ask me for a name, I couldn't give you a name at the moment. Saw two RFDL matches, stopped watching after 20 minutes. The quality play is worse than CFL. And so, rather, that's the next generation of concern about Indian talent at the moment. Similar, any player you thought technical but not effective? Yeah, there are tons of them. Right, we come to the class of listed Colasso. If I want to go international football, I would say players like Leroy Sané at Bayern, technically very, very gifted. One of the could be, but doesn't. He did score on Friday, but coach needs to do more out of his talent. That's a problem with a lot of these players. Yeah, so you have players with capabilities of playing style, certain quality, but they don't achieve that, and that's the challenge, right? That's the challenge that we have, right? So therefore, yeah, that's for you football. Right, nearly, and we're closing in on the hour mark. It's those of you who haven't like what you're hearing, what you're seeing, do leave a like behind, to share it as well. 8 likes so far. Thank you very much. If you want to follow the channel and its content, do leave a subscription behind. We're 2,214 at the moment. You can also look at the shorter videos that I make on a regular basis. Today, of course, I asked the question in regard to East Bengal FC, and is it another lost ISL campaign? Before that, an interesting conversation with Shana was about FIFA suspending Pakistan. Could India be next? Therefore, it's a longer conversation to look at it. And then, of course, Meghalaya, Shillong hosting in the first ever ISL match. The uncertain future of Indian football. ISL Shield, League Shield race, and other things. Do watch those things. And as always, thank you for your support. Florian Wirtz and Musiala, they're all world class at their age, respective age. Jamal is a little younger than the other two, Florian Wirtz and Jamal Musiala. So yeah, let's see where these guys can go, what level they can reach in the coming years. Today's Aragos said winning the game 6-7 would have been normal. So do you think it's a bit arrogant when you lost 5 games? Yeah, I said that to Gear Rare at the start of the show as well. I feel that after the run that they've had, you have to be a little more humble, and you didn't. I at least didn't feel that way, and I think it's not good for BFC. If you're gonna run around and talk about things. And do you think Saudi Pro League is the next CSL and spending huge to bring stars, still declining attendance? I think Zoravar attendance is not an issue. The Saudis have so much of money that they can and want to spend. I mean, if you think of John Turan's prime, Joy. So therefore, CSL is a different thing. As CSL is impacted by COVID and by the implosion of the Chinese economy, which has resulted in it. That's it. Are you a racing fan? How good racer is you now? Murali, as I've said in the past, I like Formula One, so I do watch Formula One. And I am not a racer. I'm a good. I can also drive fast. German highways invite one to drive fast, but yeah. Just your comment there. So people will be hearing the case about AIFF Constitution. I should supposedly tomorrow. Let's wait and see. And tomorrow is the so-called date of the Supreme Court of India hearing the AIFF Constitution matter, and who knows where we stand on the suspension by FIFA in the coming days. Celebrity culture, do you support it? Is this thing exist in Europe? Celebrity culture exists everywhere in some sort of form or way. I think it's more in India than in other places, other parts of the world, but it does exist here in Germany or in Europe as well. Today is the NFL Super Bowl. It feels like it's $1 multiplied by 5. Which I think as a one-off on a yearly occasion, I think there's nothing bigger than the Super Bowl. It's even bigger than, let's say, the Champions League final. But let's wait and see. Any instance you thought, I'm not going to Murali, that is what I try and do, even here on my channel. I try and get across what I think, I believe, I know what is right and what is wrong. So yeah, I do that on a regular basis, be it here, online, be it in private. So yeah. Do you think the constitution will be approved? Zoravar, I have no clue. I don't have a clue on how, the Supreme Court will decide, if they will decide or if they will push it again. Don't know at the moment. Can you drive same way in India? My driving skills in India is a little bit more different because you have to be more aware. You are slower. You're way slower than in Germany. And so let's see. Indian fan culture is most toxic in the. I don't know. So if it is, if it's not, it can be toxic, but yeah. My social media got filled with Super Bowl versus World Cup debates since yesterday. Which is bigger in my opinion? I agree with you, Blue. I've heard this. I've had this. A good friend of mine is a big football fan, American football fan, not a soccer fan, as they would say in America. And to me, yeah, the Football World Cup final is to me X times bigger than the Super Bowl. I think with the UEFA Champions League, that would be that those can be compared, and maybe the Super Bowl is bigger than the Champions League final, but I would say that the FIFA World Cup final is the biggest single sporting match that exists in sports, bigger than anything. In instances, people be careful, but still they neglect. Yeah, Murali. Multiple times. Not only people, generally, right? I said I want that FIFA could suspend, could ban Indian football, but hey, nobody listened. What about Europe football fans? Murali, there are these fans, there are those fans. Even in Europe, fans can be ignorant, and fan groups, Yeah. In your India visit, did you talk with any coaches who work in grassroots? So, yeah, I had those conversations. FIFA Men's World Cup equals to 10 NFL. Okay, Uchut, enjoy your stay, the rest of your stay in the US. That's back to India, I think, very, very soon with that kind of a statement. I think the American said that. An American friend of mine didn't like that at all and said football is European style football, soccer as you call it, is much, much bigger than American football, any other of the American sports. But the Americans don't like that when you tell them on the face that our kind of football X times much, much bigger than what the Americans perceive their football to be. So yeah, that's not something that they like to hear. Yeah. Interesting if you do making bloopers. Okay, what does that mean? What did they say? An improvement in grassroots or the same? No, everyone knows that things, anyone with the same brain, with the same understanding will tell you that things in Indian football at the moment are going downhill across the board. Right? So no coach will come forward and tell you, they know that things are going down badly rather than well. So therefore, it's a problem. It's a problem across the board. And we need to act, we need to change things, but we're not doing that, right? So therefore, that's the challenge at the moment. And therefore, yeah, we hope that things will change for better. Right, 1 hour and nearly 7 minutes. Rugby, how big a game is it? Especially in Europe, in Western Europe, it is quite big. And of course, in the former Commonwealth outside of India, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, big. Besides England, Scotland, Ireland, France, and Italy. Right? Those are the big rugby nations. I told if you can make funny scenes while making video. Okay. No, normally there's no funny scenes when I make videos. There's no bloopers. Bloopers, I think it's called, right? So no, there's nothing of that kind in my videos. Sorry, Monali, to disappoint you on that front. So, if you're not going to throw me any more questions for tonight, I'll slowly come to an end on this, not late night, but a little later than usual discussion on Indian football. As I said, like, share, and subscribe. Arunfoot here on YouTube. Watch the videos, support it. Let's keep on growing the community as always. Thank you for being. If there is no one last question that I'll try and answer, I will then move on and end this live. Is there a stronger relation to having German community? Yeah, much more strict, much more. Bengali commentators keep hyping Santosh Trophy scores during every ISL match. That's the same thing that the IFA did with me and told me, and I think there's another event next week. So therefore, yeah. For in Kolkata, they've been hyping. I didn't even get into that discussion because I think nobody wants to discuss it. Maybe you can make a short clip channel where you can cut your discussion and share as video. Blue, for me, just putting together, doing these discussions is already a lot of work. Let me see if I can do it. But again, I would need people to work with me to do that, actually, to clip out the best things. Honestly, that's not possible for me to do, but it's a good idea, actually. But again, not only just to, short clips for here on YouTube, on other platforms, good idea. But yeah, I would need people to actually work with me at the back end to do that. So good night, Blue. Good night, Zoravar. Good night, everybody else. And as I always love to say, like, share, and subscribe. Arunfoot. Watch the short videos. Keep on supporting. Good night.